Well, we survived bomb cyclones. What was that new thing that the Bureau of Meteorology invented that we gopped in Sydney yesterday? By the way, you can't call them the bomb. They're the Bureau of Meteorology because it's the delicate genius of the Bureau of Meteorology cannot be shortened into an acronym. But I love the new terms. Bomb. You know how my place, Joel, it was heavy rain. How are you?
Very good. Great day for a picnic. So what a shocker.
Awful. I've got a bloody, my roof's leaking, shook.
Really?
Yeah.
Do sportsbets still take markets on amount of rainfall? There was a time a long time ago. Sportsbet used to take bets on what was it, millimetres of rain or
millimetres, temperature, maximum, minimums, that sort of jazz. No, we've come a long way since then, no doubt.
Regulations?
Yes, regulations.
Very good. Yes, it's an unusual way to start, I understand. Who did, I gather you did, Joel Kane, you did the chat with James Maloney.
I did,
the Legends chat, which is available. I did a lunch with him last week. This will be a fun chat because the bloke has no filter whatsoever.
Nope. And I tell you what, great story, boys. He invited himself to rugby league, essentially. So he wasn't scouted by anyone. He was completely missed. He and a few mates jumped in a car. An open trial at North Sydney Bears.
Wow.
Went down there, played well, got picked up. But not one scout found him. And what a career he had.
I just think you got to think happenstance that he and Joey were never together. I mean, as a halves duo, they could have been unbelievable. On tour, you don't want any part of that.
I was going to say, was there a scallywag factor involved in the scouts maybe overlooking him at the start? Maybe.
Right.
Maybe.
Right.
If it was just on talent, I'm sure he would have been there. There might have been a little bit of scallywag factor.
But you got to think about it. All those kids who got placed in front of him and then, supreme in both those grand finals and won.
He's done it all.
Played in 3 grand finals.
Yep. Origins.
Star.
Yeah, it's getting a nice little following, this Legend series.
Yeah.
Sure. Any sneak peek?
Very nice.
So we
got
Just jump on the YouTube, check it out, folks. It's a beauty.
Very good. There it is. Hair is very dark today.
Here we go.
I think it's the lighting. I've had questions about the lighting, but that is very black.
Here we go.
Very black.
There hasn't been a mention of the rude accusation that I dabble in just for men. It's not true.
Joel, do you agree? Are you seeing the same thing I'm seeing?
It might be the rain bomb. Bit of moisture in the hair.
It's a bit harder to dye the beard, isn't it?
Well, you need the deflection.
Yes.
You need the.
Oh, is that your okay? Look over here. No, look over here.
I'm just saying, at the top of the bonds, it just looks very dark today. That's all. I think it's the lighting here.
The bonds.
Shout out to the boys of the Kingsway Barbers. I love when I give them a shout out there. They do some great work.
They give you any discounts?
They are.
Hey, how much are they charging you for a haircut?
$35 for a haircut. No, I pay full freight.
Yep.
Yeah,
okay, very good. Let's talk about the Origin. I see you. We'll do the full preview, by the way, on Sunday night.
Yes.
Sunday night after Matty Johns and on podcast and your usual places. So we'll go through first try scorer, man of the match, the whole thing. But the New South Wales team, as we record, so this might have changed. Joel, you don't think he's going to play? Brian because Kiraz is at number 18. It is an unusual 18th man, I've got to say.
But he's since come out, reckons he will. Can we talk about the conspiracy theory that you boys presented, which I actually quite like?
Our producer presented.
Yes.
And I like
it too.
So which is?
Matt Burton will play Friday night.
Yes.
Kiraz is going to be injected into the team, starting for Toto, and Matt Burton will find his place on the bench
after having played for the
Bulldogs. Having played Friday night for the Bulldogs next Wednesday night. I don't mind at all. He is, if you had to build an 18th man, it's Matt Burton. And he's done it, and now he's not there. There's something very strange going on.
That's really getting cheeky. If they pull that off the Dogs, that is really
That
cheeky.
is the greatest heist, if it is successful, since Queensland picked TBC as winger.
Yes. That won't be beaten.
Lottie Takiri.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is pretty good because what gives this the extra flavour, Bulldogs Brisbane this week, Walsh the 18th man for Brisbane, Burton potential 18th man for New South Wales.
Wouldn't the Broncos be filthy if they pulled this off?
Gus pulled off a swift. Because how does Burton go from 18 to 18 to not in the... there is something a bit weird about that. And Jacob Kiraz is a terrific player, but he can only play 2 positions.
Well, Burton is the perfect 18th man, isn't he?
If you had to build one, it's him.
It's him.
Can play anywhere. And the fact that they've picked him there previously, he sat out a Bulldogs game previously, to now not be there, very strange.
Is that the first time you heard? Our producer Nathan presented this. Is that the first time you've heard this?
Yeah, I love it. The thing is,
It's a good theory.
with the Kiraz 18th man, let's just say that everyone was fit and he literally turned up to the game as 18th man. I mean, he can only cover wing, can't he?
Well, yeah.
Because his centre position is not his forte.
Yeah, centre at a pinch, but it's not his forte. He's not a carbon copy of Toe, but he's there for 20 carries, 220 metres. That's what he's there for. And he can finish as well. Look, Gibbo, he's onto something.
I tell you, I saw something on the weekend, boys, which I don't think I've ever seen. Luke Laulili. He's a winger.
Yes.
He came on the field about 4 times. Every time I saw the interchange card, Laulili's coming back onto the field.
And playing centre this week, which we'll talk about as well. Queensland team. Did the market favour Queensland once the team came out? Did they come in a notch or two, or did they go the other way?
Poor old Shibasaki. So as soon as, Billy certainly caught me off guard, because you asked me, Shug, on our Sunday night show, does Walsh just come into the team?
Yeah.
And the level of arrogance in which I said yes, it's obviously come back to bite me, because he's there, he's on his 18th man. I can't believe that Shibba's been picked. The market couldn't really believe it either. Went 7.5 to 8.5, smallish move, and there's a bit of juice in the plus as well. $1.84, I think Queensland are plus 8.5.
I've just had an epiphany. If we were ever to see an 18th man come on and make a big difference, Reece Walsh would be that player.
Yeah.
You could see that, couldn't you?
Absolutely.
Something happens and he plays a whole hour of a game and just gets man of the match. You could actually see that.
Who was 18th man when Walsh was knocked out? I've now asked a question I don't have the answer to. Now, the hammer went berserk.
Didn't.
But I think Selwyn Cobbo, you might be right, but they readjusted because they had players that could go into all positions. Do you like the hammer at number 1 as opposed to Reece Walsh? I don't, but Billy clearly has issues with.
Yeah, my question mark is I don't think they can beat New South Wales by trying to sort of defend their way there. That New South Wales are going to score points. We saw it in the second half of game 2. With enough good ball, they will put points on, and that was in a rain bomb type scenario over there in Perth as well. So if it's dry, they're going to score points. I don't think you can limit that. So I don't know where the upside is in not playing Reece Walsh. Reece Walsh is an attacking weapon. Yes, he'll come with an error or two, but that's okay because you need to score points. That's what you get with Walsh at fullback, Hammer in the centres or the wing, wherever you play him, doesn't matter. You don't get that with the Hammer at the fullback and Shibazaki at the centre. So it's a strange, it feels to me they're going to try and play a bit of a shutdown game. And if you're going to, I think you're playing with fire trying to do that.
And weather, it's a week away, so who knows. But it's a sunny day, clear night, 15 degrees. The last rain we'll see until then apparently will be Sunday. So let's hope. But it will still be greasy anyway because it's winter in Sydney and it'll be dewy as all get out.
It's the last game there, that'll be Friday night and then no more games over the weekend. Have I got that right? Off the top of our heads, yes.
Oh, this week, yes.
Yeah, so it'll be a call. So it gets a bit of a break between playing footy to the Wednesdays, and it usually holds up okay.
By the way, how bad's the SCG and Allianz Stadium?
Yeah, give that a drive by, the SCG.
Oh, well, don't start me on the SCG Trust. They're not called the SCG Trust anymore. But, instead of worrying about, they see you started me, just fix the damn service.
Just got to strike the match.
Okay. I pay enough membership and there's enough that I don't use and there's enough people that pay enough membership. Can you fix the damn surface? Thank you. Rowdy has, I think, come in with some information. Felix Kaufusi was the 18th man last year. But Selwyn Cobbo, remember, was on the bench and we all thought, why is Selwyn Cobbo on the bench? And of course it came in perfectly when Walsh got knocked out. He came into the centres, I believe, and the Hammer went to fullback. Hammer scored 3 tries. So,
just on the Shibasaki thing, there's no grey area with this selection, right? It's either going to be a disaster or it could be genius, right? I don't think there's any middle ground, is there? Really?
No.
Like if they lose the game, it's going to be, well, you probably lost it there.
Yeah. He's just got to break even to Crichton, doesn't he? Well, that's a win, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they'll take that straight away. Yep.
All right, and we'll preview it in full. I just thought of a Bambi, but I cannot.
Come on.
No, I can't do it.
Mike's live, Dan.
I can't
Come
do
on.
it. I know. I can't do
You
it.
can do it, Dan.
No, I can't do it. Try July. This is now you've gone from one great sports bet, well, not initiative, but something sports bet's got behind of, to something which I think is a sports bet, and in fact, very much is a sports bet initiative. Try July. Can you explain it for me, please, Sean Ormerod?
$5,000 for every concerted try celebration across the month of July. So we've got 4 NRL rounds. We've got NRLW kicking off this weekend. That's going to be included. And Origin Game 3. So they're all included. The NRLW players, from memory last year, they really took it to the next level.
Go.
So the call out is to the men. You've got to come to the party. You started off good a few years ago. Bit of a lull last year. $5,000 to a couple of very good causes. The Australian Skin Cancer Foundation, Shug, which you just had a little thing cut out of your face. They do some really good work. Actually. And also the Player Hardship Fund, who do some amazing work, ex-players who have fallen on tough times, do some great work there. So the cause couldn't be better. It's now over to you players to do your thing.
And has anyone ever complained about it, ever since your man, Fletch? All right, that one annoyed Queensland, and they, turned into something they've used to their advantage for 25 years. But I don't think I've heard of anyone complaining about a try celebration since.
Nope.
It's 25 years.
Yep.
So, get behind it. Players, don't think you're offending the opposition. Don't think you're offending your own coach. Can we get the market up, please? Try July is now up and about on
there we go.
Most tries during the month of July. Now, let me just read these for the audio people. Pappenhausen 450, Grant Anderson 7,
a lot of
Xavier
purple
Coates
here, Dan.
11. Yeah, there's a reason. Ellie Cartel $18. You've got the non-Melbourne players on the front page. Jacob Kiras 13 and Marcelo Montoya on 20.
Does not include Origin. Just keep that in mind.
Doesn't include Origin.
And my man Nwanga Nitawaza at 15. I won't go through all of them. Tupou 21 the next. Xavier Savage at 23. Now, the reason Melbourne have got an extra game, because Try July is from July 1 to July 31. Melbourne play 5 games. July 31 happens to be a Thursday night, Melbourne versus Parramatta. Oh. So that's why.
And what a game it is.
That's why. I looked at the Roosters draw, Joel. It's not that bad. My man, I'm all in on my man. Nwanga Nutawaze. He's going to feature in my best bets this week. He's featured in a few things I've done this week.
Did Pappy score 5 against the Eels last time? He went on an absolute field day, didn't he? Or was that the West Tigers, maybe?
Might have been the Tigers.
Might have been the Tigers.
He's in a drought.
He is in a drought.
4 in a row. 4 in a row. So anyone you like there in particular?
Well, Grant Anderson's short enough at $7, but he just scores. Every time he plays wing, he scores.
Their back line is a little bit decimated at the Melbourne Storm. We might get to that a little bit later, but it's going to be chopping and changing after Origin. So it's hard to maybe dive into anyone outside of the Pap.
But you can flum someone at a price when it's such a short window, a month. You can flum someone to jag 6 tries.
That's exactly right. That's why I never even looked at the front page, to be honest, just because it is a sprint.
Well, you probably need 7 or 8, wouldn't you?
I've got some numbers around the Melbourne Storm right edge coming up later in the show. Stay tuned for that. Eli Katoa, they're playing the Cowboys, very suitable game. He could have 3 by this time next week.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get to... I'm not going to do that Bambi. It really...
Can you give us a theme?
It's
give us an
wanting
area.
to come out, isn't it?
Give us just tease us with what it potentially could be. Don't go the whole way.
Let's go to Bulldogs versus Broncos. So, lots of Origin players missing here. It's actually pretty even. Canterbury, Crichton, King, Mann, Kiraz. 18th man as we record this. You might know more than us by now. Broncos, Haas, Carrigan, Shibasaki. Reece Walsh, 18th man. And now I've got to repeat the great conspiracy that was forwarded by our senior producer, Nathan, who likes to be called senior. No, he's good. He goes well, Gibbo. He said his theory is, and it's that after this game, To'o will pull out, Kiraz goes into the side, and then Burton, the real 18th man, comes in, but he's already played.
Correct.
Canterbury have got that. It's a great conspiracy theory.
Oh, I'd love to see that happen. And ironically, the Broncos' heads would fall off because they could have done the same with Reece Walsh, right?
Yeah.
If that was to happen. But I love that conspiracy.
I hope it is true.
So do I.
Because it'll kill. I hate the 18th man being unavailable for Origin. I think it's a joke. I thought it in the Tom Dearden days when he was 18th man a few years ago all the time. But so the Cowboys don't have the media pull that, say, the Bulldogs have whinged about it all series, right? But because they've got more stroke in the media, they're going to do something about it. Whereas the Cowboys and other clubs, well, that's just the way it is. But I think I don't like the 18th man not being available.
Kiraz will like the 30K, won't he? Matt Burton may not like.
Full freight.
Okay, but
He's going to get paid anyway.
Hypothetical.
Yeah.
Brian Toto is good to go.
Yep.
Is Kiraz actually going to be the 18th man on the day?
Oh,
I think they're stuck. Yes. Because then they've been caught out with no benefit.
And there's not a world in which Burton is not a better 18th man than Kiraz, is there?
No, find me a world where that exists.
It's amazing how little discussion there's been of Burton not being 18th man. Like, he's the perfect 18th man. Anyway, let's talk about this game. Front row for Canterbury, Sam Hughes, Harry Hayes. And Ari Tuala back in first grade at number 4. Wilson, the winger. For Brisbane, Cobbo at fullback, Mam and Reynolds are 6 and 7. I've got to say, Sean, I know you disagree. Canterbury giving up 5.5 as we record. I actually don't mind the Broncos. I think this is a pick'em game. I think the Broncos side, man for man, is better than Canterbury. There you go. I've said it.
Yeah, okay. I thought we'll get to my best bet later in the show, but I thought the Bulldogs would be shorter. I think the market's probably being held back by the previous game they played. Remember up at Suncorp?
Yeah, they lapped them.
Raining sideways. Broncos, who were going no good at the time either, come out and absolutely spanked the Bulldogs, who were going good at the time. So it might be getting held back a touch with that. I just can't get over. I think pound for pound, you take out Haas, Carrigan and Walsh. I think that outweighs significantly what the Bulldogs are missing, particularly with the faux 18th man, Matt Burton, being able to play here. The weather is a bit of a concern. We know the Bulldogs haven't been great in wet weather games, but I think by Friday it's going to be okay. I'm pretty keen on the Bulldogs here.
Hand in glove stuff, Sean?
Hand in glove. We love a hand in glove stat, and we've got one here. Now, the Bulldogs, this is actually helped by a lack of Kiraz as well, because they generally like to attack right, even though Kiraz and Montoya switched last week. You might have picked up that one. But the centre-left position for the Bulldogs is that's their number one sort of weapon in terms of attack. 19 tries there. The Broncos concede. It's an exact mirror. 19 tries down that centre right-hand side of the field. So that's Katoni Staggs area. Really good in attack. And when the Broncos have been up and about the last few weeks, Staggs has been excellent. Defensively, can have his moments. I'm looking at Bronson Sherry potentially.
Why did they switch last week? That was unusual. Is it because, did Coach Serrato go, you know what, mate, Toto's in some doubt. I want to put you in the shop front window. Or did Laurie Daly tap him on the head saying, hey, just so you know, it's your team, do as you please. But I am looking at Kiraz for left wing for Origin. Can I see him there? Do you think either of those two things happened?
Potentially.
So it was an unusual switch.
Sure. I'll tell you what, it's grabbed my attention, Joel, and I don't mean, you've pointed out something that is very interesting. I think what's even more interesting, 44.5 is the under. Is the over-under? Yeah, that's way too high.
Too big.
Way too high. Sorry, I didn't mean to...
No, you're right. I tell you where they could go and probably will go. No Stephen Crichton for Canterbury. We know how buttoned up Canterbury on the left-hand side with Sherry. So this Broncos side, they love going left. And Katapani keeps taking Jesse's tries. But that's fine. If you can't win, if you can't beat them, join them, they'd say in the old classics. I think that he can be in for a bit of a day out, so I'll take care of a flare, boys. And this young fellow, Katapani, to get 2 or more tries.
Let's see the rolling R on you. I love it, John.
Shibasaki's been pretty friendly with him too in setting up a lot of those tries. So that's an out for...
As Walsh is an out for him.
As Walsh is as well with that big gun-slinging right to left. But, yeah, this almost feels like a bit of a semi-emotional sort of hedge by you, having Jesse Arthur over the other edge.
Believe it. He's in a major drought.
How many has that wing got now? About 17 now, that wing?
Which
would be
the combo wing.
Yeah,
16 or 17.
All right. Canberra, I take it you like Canterbury here?
Yes, please.
Canberra versus St George Illawarra, 5:30. GIO, 10.5 is the line as we do this. So Josh Papali'i out. Well done to him. Hudson Young as well. Horsburgh starts at prop and Morgan Smithies goes into lock. It's they've got a handy team. St George Illawarra, no Val Holmes. And also a whole bunch of players not available either. Canberra, strangely, I think, Joel, is in a bit of a lull, but they keep winning.
Yeah, that's right.
No, so it's a great sign,
Yep.
but I'm not... I'm a bit sceptical about 10.5 here. I just... Right now, their ability to blow teams away.
And with a couple of out, you mentioned, mind you, their backups have been good. Simi Sasangi and
He's a player.
He's flying.
they've got plenty of depth in the forwards.
You know, I like Matty Otta. He's a good...
He's very
thumping middle player.
Very good player. They are back home, so they've had a couple of weeks on the road. They're back home. Mind you, they've had a lot of big milestone-y type games to play for, but they're up and about, and the Dragons are patchy, aren't they?
Very patchy. And I look at some point, the injury list has to sort of crumble them. But I think you found some... I was a week early on KO Week, Shug.
You were. This
and
kid's
he's gone with
dynamite.
Scar.
Dynamite, and I tell you where they had some big problems. Canberra, they'd win this game, right, and they get away with it. Not pretty in the end, but that won't matter for Ricky Stewart. Xavier Savage is having a fair bit of trouble in his right, boys, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's an obvious target for Coach Flanagan. That could be Sione Finau. I think he'll play on the left with Sloan, who's mostly played on the right-hand side.
Right, yeah, I think so. Tua Piloto, yeah, he was the late out last week, missed a couple of tries early to his old mate Lawson. He's still out of the team, and it looks like Finau might just could definitely snag a couple. Remember how Ricky really held Savage back for a long time, and I think defence was a big part of it.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's any thought of potentially a little spell for Savage, because he's shown in the past, Ricky, he doesn't mind doing it.
Yeah, but they've just... Depth now is a problem, right?
Yeah.
So... Hopper's out.
Tamale out.
Tamale's out.
Yeah.
Canberra favourites for the minor premiership?
Yes, they should be.
They are.
I think they are now, yeah.
I think they are. Canterbury. I think Canterbury's about $4.50 for minor premiership. Now, I don't know how it got out that far, but I'd be looking at them. But depending on, they'd have to beat Brisbane this week, you would imagine. I've got the flair for this. Dragons make a habit of good starts and then collapsing. Canberra slow starts and then racing home. So I'll just take the half-time, full-time double, $6.75. Dragons. I think the Dragons could keep this close. I really do, because I think the Canberra side is in a little bit of a patch. And the weather's not bad. 10 degrees at 5:30 on Saturday. 10 degrees. Well, that's, you know what? Canberra
You'd take that, wouldn't you?
Could be 1 degree.
Imagine if you were a mad fan of bet type. So if it was the unders, you'd be there with a big sign, great no try and great missed goal. If you were taking that bet, you'd wear the Dragons jersey first and then take it off and put the Raiders on.
Yeah.
We start, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
We can start to come up with ideas for unders bet. Remember Vossi years ago did a segment on the idiot who was a supporter of the buy? On his boots and all show. I think we need to come up with signs for unders and things of the like. Maybe we can leave that to people at home. Now, North Queensland. Sorry, I have an itchy back. What are you going to do? North Queensland versus Melbourne. A lot of start for Melbourne here, although I think it's come in a bit, 10.5. It was 13.5 the last time I saw. Melbourne missing Grant, Munster, Coates, Liero, Utoi Kamanu. Cowboys missing Robson, Cotter, Nene, Dearden. Clifford and Duffy are the 6 and 7 for them. For Melbourne, you've got Joe Chan at 3. Second rower playing in the centres, Tyron Wishart at 6. Cowboys, I'll tell you what, they are gifted some dream matchups against the Storm. Either it's at a week the Storm are resting everyone, or it's pre-origin, the way this is. It's the first time I think Melbourne have played a pre-origin this year. They've scored first in 10 of their last 11 games, Melbourne Storm, and the Cowboys are notoriously slow starters, only 4 half-time leads in 2025. Sean, you start us off.
Hard to get it over the storm outs of the big names. So you take Munster and Harry Grant, notably, Xavier Coates as well, but it's the injuries to their outside backs now. So they're going to have new combinations all over the field. Their defence hasn't been that crash hot this year so far, the Melbourne Storm. It's still, at the top end of the good spectrum, but not crash hot. So you've got all these new combinations. Of all the games, this is the one where I can just get around the home underdog, which everyone knows that I love. even with all those Cowboys outs. And I think the scoreline last week against the Titans flattered the Titans. There was that mistake that Tommy did and I think made where he dropped the ball. The Titans scored a try. Without that, they were going to get the ball back. Sorry, that was going to be a margin. And games can switch just off big moments. So I'm taking it with a bit of a pinch of salt. They only just scraped over the line there.
In fairness, I would take that entire game with a pinch of salt.
Probably.
It was not the high point.
It wasn't.
NRL in
No, it wasn't.
2025.
It wasn't.
What we don't take as a pinch of salt, Joel, is when when Grant Anderson is moved to the wing, he's money in the bank.
What he is, he's only missed it once in recent times. Have a look at this, boys. They love finding him, and he's just such a capable replacement, isn't he? I suppose at the start of the year, people put their best teams on paper, and he probably wouldn't be in that side. But he's now getting to the point where everyone fully fit. He almost has to make this side, doesn't he?
Yeah, probably. Probably should.
Who would have been their grade A wingers at the start of the year?
Warbrick. So
Warbrick.
Warbrick's still missing.
Now, our man down in Melbourne on radio said he just started a return back to training, so he's at best still a few weeks away. Basically, they've got to put a little pre-season into him to get him right. So, obviously, that was a really nasty concussion situation.
So keep an eye on him, mate. He just scores. Think about him for your same-game multis. By the way, the team do a great job. You'll notice along the bottom roll there are some stats and facts that pop up that the team have put together for you. I noticed one there, Ryan Pappenhausen, boys, has never scored against the Cowboys. So I just had a little bo peep there. Never scored against the Cowboys, which is the only team left on his bingo card.
Wow.
So he'll have the whole set.
Tony Staggs got there you go. 5 games.
There it is.
5, Ryan Pappenhausen. And you've noticed something about the Storm attack, Sean.
Yeah, so when Munster and Hughes have played together so far this year, we're looking at some numbers. It's about a 60-40 split. So on the left-hand side of your screen, this is 2025, 60-40 split left and right. We know Munster plays left, Hughes on the right. Went back to last year when Munster missed a lot of football. Hughes right side dominant. It almost levels up to about 50-50 of where they score their tries down the right-hand side of the field. Now, it may have been a week too late because Eli Katoa last week was unbelievable. He can score running the footy, he can score catching a bomb, he can score off a grubber. He's an absolute gun. But I'm going right with no Munster. It just feels natural as well. They're going to be right side dominant. Eli Katoa, Jerome Hughes to combine for 2+. There has to be points in this game. There's so many combinations all over the field that haven't defended next to each other. I think we're going to see points.
The most granular stat of the year. Well done to you. That was very, very good. That's random stats guy stuff. Well done. I liked it. Roosters, I like those odds too. $4.33, and it's just the 2. Roosters Tigers, Sunday afternoon. This is the biggest mismatch in terms of head-to-head for a long, long time, because the last 4 Roosters Tigers combined score 184-26, average score 46-6. So the Roosters have slaughtered the Tigers in the past, but it's origin affected, obviously. No Angus Crichton, no Spencer Leniu, Connor Watson, Robert Toyer, Lindsay Collins. So they're missing 5. Jerome Luai out for the Tigers. They need a win. Here's a random stat of the day. Haven't won an Allianz since 2012. The Tigers. A few games there. 11 losses since. Yeah, 0-11 since. Lost 6 straight this year. The last 2 games haven't scored a first half point. Conceded first try in their last 7 games. There's not a Tiger stat I can give you that's positive. Roosters have won 2 straight. They won both their games before Origins 1 and 2. That might be the most important of them all. I'm looking here at these teams. You've got Yoelu at 9 for the Roosters. You've got Tom Rodwell making his debut. There's a lot of raps on him, isn't there?
Leading try scorer in the New South Wales Cup, 15.
And for the Tigers, Dewey goes into 6. He'll do a job there, you'd think. Luke Laui'i, who is a centre, who is a winger / fullback, has played 1 game of centres in New South Wales Cup, is being asked to play the centres role. That could be. That's a big challenge for the young man. Well, good luck to him.
Why did they put him to fullback temporary last week? Like Taruva, Penrith said on the record, if anything ever happened to Dylan Edwards, Taruva would go straight back there.
Yeah.
If that's good enough for the Panthers, it's good enough for the Tigers, isn't it? Do he look good, by the way, in a beaten side?
He did look very good.
He looks light and fit.
Yeah.
And he's a watch.
Tell you what, they had enough ball early in the first half. If Luai was playing in that game, it's probably 18-0 or something. They had so much ball, but they just had no points in them.
Yeah.
Dewey come good late in the game, but again, they were chasing it. And they fall into this West Tigers brand of footy, which is a brand of footy they should be playing all the time when they're trying to chase wins down. Why can't they?
I was just laughing. I was out of Brookvale, Dan, and you know what it's like at half-time of a game, and all the commentators they come out for some fresh air out of the boxes, and everyone's
for
just
the meat pies.
everyone's just looked at each other and went, "Oh, that was hard work that first half."
How bad's this game? Yeah, we had 2 games this week that weren't. They can't all be Rembrandts. Let's hope this is a Rembrandt. Although you want to point out something before we get to your flair.
Yeah, this is certainly not a Rembrandt. This part of the page, anyway, for Benji Marshall's team, their right-hand side. Holy dooly, that is a big number. 54% of the tries conceded, 54% compared to 26%. So more than double on the left-hand side. And this guy here is a gun. And I think you're going to be happy with this price, boys. I was a bit surprised by this myself. So I've popped it up on the feed. If you want to join the joyride, so to speak, and jump on board, I've popped this up. $10.
Holy.
Wow. That won't be 10. People are going to jump on that because they've seen you put that up and they've thought the same thing we have. Wow.
I tell you what might not be a Rembrandt either is the surf. I want the turf.
Yeah,
I want to be
like
on
surf.
I want to be on turf watch for this game.
Oh,
100 mils at Allianz. This could be a skating rink, which doesn't fill you with great confidence steaming into a 12.5 point minus if you're that way inclined. Just watch that.
All right, just a quick one, if I may, on the Tigers management. They justified the Talon Silva release as saying, well, we made a promise to the parents. And that's very admirable, and you've got to respect someone that keeps a promise. But I don't believe that's the job of the Tigers. I think the job of the Tigers, that if they kept Appy, they'd let him go.
Okay.
But isn't the job of Tigers management the benefit of the Tigers club? Yeah. That's how I would respond, and I've tried to get something back instead of just giving him away and looking like a doormat. Manly versus the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Manly minus 9.5. This is a brookie. No Origin players for Manly. And for South, obviously, Latrell Mitchell. Brandon Smith, who I walked past last week at Suncorp, looks pretty fit. So he is on the extended bench here. It's a lot of starts.
How's Cody Walker on the extended bench? Surely he's $1 million to 1 to play here, isn't he?
I wouldn't have thought he'd be playing in this game. Manly, here's my favourite stat. At 4 Pines without with Tom Trebojevic, he is playing. They've won 16 of their last 19. So you can slice and dice. AJ number 1 for South. He played about 3 seasons there. If you add them all up, about 3 seasons worth. White at number 6. Sean, I don't think South are that bad.
Well,
I don't think Manly are that good.
Yeah, I didn't think that prior to last week, but they were pretty poor. That's hard to get out of my mind. What I know about Manly is where they score tries. They buck the whole NRL in terms of where they score their tries. They're right-hand side heavy. Now, the NRL, as a general rule, is very left-dominant, plus 17% compared to the NRL average. And you mentioned Tommy Turbo, now playing right centre. It's a one-game sample, so take it with a bit of a pinch. But there was a try assist involvement. I think he had 7 tackle breaks, a line break. There's things happen around Turbo down the right-hand side of the field. It brings Jason Saab into the picture, who killed your bet last week
all right.
with that late switch. But Jason Saab, 2 or more in this one will be my flair.
All right, that's good odds as well. I know 350 seems skinny for a double, but after that justification, I don't think it is that skinny. Quick thoughts on the game?
I like Manly. I'll tell you a quick shout out for Turbo, how smart he is. There was a play, it's not a coach's corner, but there was a play last week where Luke Brooks runs to the right, gets trapped. So Tommy Turbo recognised, okay, we're a half short now, loops around to the left-hand side to go to 5'8", and creates a try assist. That was bloody sharp.
All right. He mightn't like playing in the centres, but he did a job, that's for sure. Right, we're going to take a break, and then, there's our Origin preview reminder there. 8:20 on Sunday, full show, we believe. Full show will be on State of Origin. First try scorers, man of the match, Wally Lewis will assess the whole thing as we get you ready for game number 3. But right after this break, it is our best bet combo. It is Get 'em Onside. All right, we told you at the top of the show, Try July is underway. We got a market here at Sportsbet. Most tries during Try July. Go and see the full market. We would suggest, you got a lot of Melbourne players up top. They've got an extra game because they play July 31. 5 games for them over the over the month. but second page, and there's some really good value there. That's on the Sportsbet website. Best bet time. Sean, you kick us off.
Yeah, think about the Broncos form line. 2 weeks ago, played the Sharkies, unconvincing. Won the game, won against the Wars last week as well, but injuries went their favour. And then I look at the Bulldogs form line against the Panthers. That's an elite game. Give me the Doggies -5.5.
Now, we need the protest siren to go off here because Joel had a best bet. He has changed it at the death.
Yes, well, I love this bet type, right? This kid scored 15 tries in reserve grade, a debutant. It's the opposite of an unders bet, cheering a debutant to score. And by the way, boys, I've put our three-legged best bet multi up on the feed.
Perfect.
So you can copy that.
Yeah, I love that type of bet too. That's why I've got my men, Mark Nwanganita-Waze, a nightmare for anyone in a graphics department to try and get that name in, but they've done it well. They've shrunk it up, and that'll be on all our feeds, that best bet combo. We'll be back Sunday night, boys and girls, for the Origin preview. That is 8:20, not long after Matty Johns. Do everything you do responsibly. Get them on side. See you Sunday.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.